This conference will now be recorded.
Hello everyone, very good morning, good evening. I hope all of you guys are doing good. So Kranti here. I'm gonna be the Azure Devops trainer from Career IT Trainings. Can you please confirm if you're able to hear me and able to see my screen?
Yes, Kranti, we can able to hear you.
Yes, Kranti, you can able to hear you.
You're able to see my screen?
Screen means we are able to see just that career IT online training,
Yeah,
nothing else.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
fine
I
then.
think the slide has been changed, correct?
Yes, no, Azure DevOps.
Great. Yeah, thanks for the confirmation, guys. Yeah. So let's go ahead and get started without any further delay. So first of all, a warm welcome you all to Career IT Trainings. And I really wanted to thank and appreciate your time over busy Sunday or Sunday morning or Saturday evening, right? So taking time and attending this online demo session, which is delivering by Career IT Online Trainings. I really appreciate your time. So let's go ahead and get started. So before I go with the demo, let me take this opportunity to introduce myself. So my name is Kranti. I'm one of the technical manager working in an MNC in Hyderabad. So I do carry 15 years of experience. So I might have to change the slide. So I have close to 15 years of experience now in IT industry, out of which 7 years is completely into cloud computing technologies, right? So I'm a lead corporate trainer, and I do personal trainings. I do associate with certain institutes to deliver trainings. And I'm proud to say that I've been trained close to 34,000 people so far throughout the globe, right? So I'm an IT employee by profession, but my passion is towards training people. So I've been into training people, training industry since 7 years now, right? That's how I was able to train a lot of people, thousands of people, and the count is still going on, right? So being a project manager, I take a lot of interviews. So probably from the year one when I joined IT, from the time onwards, I started taking up interviews from multiple technologies, right? So being a manager in a company, obviously we do have requirements. Probably company, I mean, our managers, our leadership might ask to take interviews in other accounts to fulfill the positions, right? So I do have a lot of experience, and I'm a certified panelist being a HR panel, being a technical panel, being a managerial panel, so being part of the fresh graduates hiring, right? So I do carry a lot of experience in interviewing people, knowing about them, whether they will be able to fit to our role or not. A lot of experience, right? So you might have a question as to, hey Kranti, we have a lot of institutes in the market, and we have a lot of trainers who started training people in the online due to this COVID situation, right? Using Zoom meeting, GoToMeeting, Microsoft Teams, a lot of other virtual meeting tools that people are using now to train people, right? So even the candidates like you are flexible in attending the trainings, being at home, correct? So you can upskill yourself, you can learn a new technology, you can crack an interview, you get a good package, good reputation, faster growth, right? So, but why career IT is unique in the market? So, I have a story to tell about why we are unique. So, before that, let's talk about certain facts. I believe we have 15 individuals who might be joined for today, and there are a few more might gonna join soon. So, all of you might be falling under three different categories. The first category is you might be a fresher. You might have recently passed out in 2022 or 21, 20, 2019, 2018, and you might not have got a job and looking for a job, right? So you might not have got placed in any campus placements, and you are desperately looking for a job now. And we have few people who might have settled in non-IT backgrounds like BPO, KPO, some marketing, operations, sales, HR, finance, administration jobs, logistics jobs, correct? And yes, you wanted to have a break now, And third category people is the people who are already IT professionals who might be already working in IT company in different technologies and wanted to move to cloud now. So all of your intention is same. What is your intention? Your intention is, I mean, you basically have frustrated. You might not be satisfied with your project manager, company, or you might not be getting a good hike, good salary, right? A lot of reasons that might have pulled and to take a bold decision now to learn a new technology, right? So if everything is well in a company with technology which manager company, why you change and learn a new technology? Why you waste time and money? No, right? So everybody might be struggling some or the other way, and your friends might have suggested, your colleagues might have suggested, your professional network might have suggested that why don't you go and learn cloud computing, especially Azure Devops, which is booming crazily in the market, where we have a lot of positions. Correct? So your ultimate goal now is you have to take up this course, and once a course is done, you have to crack the technical interview and you have to position yourself as a Azure DevOps engineer in the company. So this is your goal, correct? Is there any other goal or intention of joining this demo session?
No,
Yes, agree, disagree, right? So this is a reason. So your intent is simple that you have to complete the course, you have to crack an interview, and you have to be placed as an Azure DevOps engineer in any reputed company, and you get a very good package, growth, faster growth. Probably you can settle your life, things and stuff. Correct? So I'm here from Kelly Technologies, being the trainer. So what is the assurance that I can give you is I'll make yourself to get into the self-confidence level, which means once the course is done, you yourself can go ahead and crack the interview, right? So to succeed in that, whatever the possible things that I have to do from my end, I'll be doing it on daily basis, right? So my ultimate goal is you yourself has to crack the interview yourself without taking anybody's help, right? So once the course is done, you can even put close to 3 years or more than 3 years as well as an experience in your profile if you are already working professional to get a job so easily. So that is what my ultimate goal being a trainer from career IT, right? So now let's talk about why we are unique in the market. Why? Because I'm a person who start from the scratch. So even a layman can be trained with me. So a layman who doesn't know anything about IT company can get trained. Why? Because I've always a habit of talking from a daily routine life examples which will happen in our life. Why? Because if I start talking about cloud computing, Azure, DevOps, you won't be able to understand the terminologies. Why? Because these are all new for you. So I'll talk from our daily life. So how we talk, how we look at the things, how we use certain things. If some issue comes up, how you handle. So these are all the daily examples that I'll be bringing in so that you can easily correlate, so that you'll be able to easily learn without any struggle. So how I go with this? So once this demo is done, I'll be walking through with the course content that we have. The course content has been built in a way considering the market standards. So what are the companies, clients that are looking for? We have put all the topics, all the tools that are actually required for you to sustain as Azure DevOps engineer in any company. So you should not have to worry about it. So we'll start with scratch. Once the demo is done, we are going to start the new batch from this Tuesday itself, day after tomorrow. So I'll take a basic topic as to what is cloud. So I'll talk from official perspective. Obviously, you might not be able to understand at times. So what I'll do, I'll take a daily example from our daily routine life so that you'll be able to correlate the official definition and the daily example that I'm telling you. So once the day-to-day example is done, once you correlate, I'll be bringing up a client scenario, a customer scenario from the real-time project. As okay, we are learning this topic, how you will be getting requirements on the topic from the client. Then how you translate the requirements into implementation. So how we understand the scenario, how we gather the requirements, how you analyze, how you suggest, how you recommend the solution to the customer. Once we both get into an agreement, We will be implementing the solution. So once we implement, we will be looking at how this solution can be value added to the customer. So if you're adding value to the customer, what happens? Customer will be able to give additional business to us, correct? So business growth will happen. If the business is growing, you will grow in the company. You might become a senior Azure DevOps engineer, or you can become a cloud DevOps lead. Lot of roles that will come into picture, right? So ultimately, what is important is how we are adding value to the client is important, correct? Let's say I have some land in Hyderabad. Let's say I have 1 crore of rupees where I wanted to build my dream home. So will I be able to build my dream home myself? I'm not a builder. So I have to give it as contract to somebody, a builder. I have to give the contract, right? So if the builder is following my building plan and is constructing the building and is giving the building as handover to me within the stipulated time, don't you think I'd be super happy? If he's building the building with super quality, don't you think that I'll be impressed with the builder? And I can suggest to my friends the same builder, right? So that they can also use this builder to have them the dream homes constructed. So ultimately, what is my focus is how you value add, how we become a differentiator in the project is the ultimate goal. So from every perspective, we'll talk from real time only. No theory, everything is practical, real time project based. Why? Because I have huge experience, so I'll be involving in a lot of things. I'll be getting in depth and we'll be talking about the scenarios. So once the real time scenario is done, I'll be covering the interview questions on the same day. On the same topic, I'll cover interview questions from theory, I'll cover interview questions from practicals and real-time scenarios on the same day. So why interview questions? Why? Because your ultimate goal is to crack an interview only, correct? You're learning the course to crack an interview. So this course would be purely based on interview. That's where at the end of this course, you will get self-confidence in yourself that, okay, I started Azure DevOps course with Kranti from zero level. So there is a saying, right? Zero to hero. Do you think heroes we can become overnight? No, a lot of struggle, effort, challenges we have to face. So forget about becoming hero overnight. But I will be assuring you that I'll be taking you from zero to at least the intermediate level. So at the end of this course, you should get self-confident that you can crack interview yourself. So once the interview questions is done, we'll be conducting mock interviews. Guys, my job at Career IT is not just to log in for the day, take a topic, say about the topic and say goodbye. My job at Career IT is I log in. The initial 5 to 10 minutes would be question and answer session as to what we have discussed yesterday. So I'll be taking out names of yours and asking questions, stating, "Hey Bharat, can you explain this?" Or "Hey Bharat, can you summarize as to what we have discussed yesterday?" So I'll be asking questions to everybody. So my job here is to analyze each and every person, right? I'll be analyzing your communication. I'll be analyzing your grammatical mistakes, pronunciation, articulation, and I'll be providing improvements, stating that, hey Chandra, this is not how you have to answer. This is how you have to answer. So you articulation is not good. So if this is the case, probably you won't be getting selected in the interview. You have to change your articulation, right? So I'll be providing you constructive feedback on daily basis in the 2 months of course that we'll be having. So at the end of this course, you would get confidence in yourself that, okay, I now know how the interviews happen, how the technical panels from different companies ask questions, how I have to answer them to get selected in the interview. So we conduct 3 mock interviews. One is at the second week, once we cover the basics. The second one is the middle of the course, and the third one before we complete the course. So why mock interviews? Why? Because you're all starting from zero now. So obviously, while we are progressing day by day, I need to check how you are scaling up yourself in technical. So that's the reason why we do mock interviews to analyze each and every candidate. So once the mock interviews is done, you will be getting a constructive feedback as to this is how you are positioning yourself at. And these are the improvement areas where you have to work on to make sure that you are cracking an interview. Once it is done, we'll help in resume preparation. Resume preparation for fresher, for non-technical individuals, for IT employees would be separate. Why? Because once you complete the course, the 2 months time that you spend, is on one side and resume preparation is on other side. Why? Because you have to project yourself in resume. So whatever that you learned in these 2 months, you have to project in your resume. So we'll spend ample time in resume preparation. Then, since you guys have taken a bold decision to move to Azure, I will be spending a lot of time in providing you guidance on cloud computing Azure. So what is your career is going to be in the next 10 to 15 years I'll be talking about. And one more thing is corporate etiquettes. So what is corporate etiquettes? Can somebody let me know? What does corporate etiquette stands for? Where did you heard about it? What does it mean? Guys, let's have an interactive session. It's not one side conversation always. So let's have some fun. Let's talk casually as well. What is corporate etiquettes? Any working professional that we have in the demo session today?
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, I would like to walk through for it, but I'm not sure whether it is correct or not. So let me guess. Okay, these are the nothing but okay, how to deal with the clients. Okay, so what we need to do, how to do, so how to communicate. So it's a set of rules. Is it okay? A
Absolutely, you are
decorum.
right.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
decorum,
hello.
right? Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah. It's a decorum. Okay, how to handle the client. Okay, when we are having the meeting. Okay, what should know to. I mean, so how to
How
handle
to
the client.
speak, how to maintain yourself, right?
Exactly, exactly. Corporate governance standards.
Yes. So, if you go ahead and enroll the course with us, corporate equities is additional advantage for you. So you go any training institute, you go to any trainer, nobody has dared to include this. But I'm the person who has included this. Why? Because you don't just learn the technology from me, you will learn how you have to sustain a company. When I'm talking about sustainability is a very big word, which means once you join as a cloud DevOps engineer, how your role is going to be. So, how you get projects, how you will be paid by your company, how the client will pay to the company, then how you have to behave with the team members in the project, how you have to behave and build the rapport with your project manager, lead, client, right? How you have to be a differentiator, how you come up with innovative ideas, right? How you fix a problem, how you say no to your client. Do you think saying a no is so easy to the client directly? No, it is an art, it's a skill. Saying no is a skill. So I'll be teaching you how you can say no when you don't know something, right? So once you complete this course and once you get a job, it should not be a Chinese movie like, Chinese movie in the project. You should be knowing everything, how the project works, how management is, how the leadership works, how you can get a very good hike, right? How you can do certain healthy politics which should not impact the project decorum. So a lot of things that we'll talk about apart from the technology, guys. Why? Because I'm a person who train an individual from a 360-degree perspective, not just technology, everything surrounded by the technology I'll be talking about. That's where we are unique in the market, right? So we have delivered a lot of batches, and everybody says the same feedback that we have learned something else apart from the technology, which will help them from the sustainability perspective. So this is all about uniqueness, and apart from this, I'm very good at multi-cloud. So I handle projects from multi-cloud, Microsoft Azure, AWS, GCP, Alibaba Cloud, DevOps, and I'm very good at SQL Server database or MSBI stack. So from business intelligence, Power BI. So I'm a scripter, PowerShell scripter, and being a project manager, I've been to abroad multiple times, and I have offshored a lot of projects to India, and they were delivering successfully, right? So I've certified in ITIL, Information Technology Infrastructure Library. So these are the standards that we have to follow in an IT company whenever you're running any support projects or production support projects. And I'm very good at client management, people, attrition, stakeholder, a lot of things that I do from project management. Then I'm very good at onboarding new projects and offboarding the projects that are in the verge of completion. Why? Because a project has to end at some point of time, right? So there is a skill called onboarding as well. So that is very much important to offboard the projects whenever it is going to complete. And I'm Azure DevOps expert. and I'm an Azure developer certified, Azure administrator, and you can see the certifications that I've done on the screen. And I'm a Microsoft certified trainer since 3 consecutive years now. So, Microsoft, which is a well-known product-based company, right? Microsoft Azure is a service from Microsoft, which is from the cloud computing technology, right? So I've been recognized from Microsoft as an official corporate trainer or the certified trainer. So the kind of training that I give, the kind of material, the kind of real-time scenarios, the kind of interview questions, or the kind of pattern of training people is completely different when you compare with anybody else in the market. So this what's make us unique in the market, and why this story is you guys have chosen a bold decision now to move to cloud to change the technology. So what I believe in is it is a good time to choose a right trainer to get into right track of your career path, right? So that's the reason why this slide. So this slide is just to give you the confidence that okay, your trainer is so and so, is coming from so and so background, is currently doing this, and is certified and so and so, right? So this is all about myself. So if you have any questions, you can park towards end of the session. So I'll be spending 15 to 20 minutes in answering your questions itself. So let's directly pitch on to the demo session for the day. So today the agenda is we don't just routinely go with the course curriculum, right? Like others. If you attend a demo session, they just go with the course curriculum and they say that we cover this that. No, I'm here today to help you understand what is Azure DevOps and why it is having a lot of boom in the market now. Why you're hearing this terminology or roles, positions nowadays in the market. But why previous years it was not there? What is the reason why a company has come up with a technology or a solution called Azure DevOps? We'll talk about, right? So today's agenda is what is the software, how it has been developed usually in the prior years, and how we are developing the software now. And what is the role of a DevOps engineer in developing the software? So this is all of our agenda for the day, right? So before that, let's have a casual talk. So can somebody let me know the preparation of rice? So did anybody tried cooking rice? I just wanted to know the procedure from the scratch to the end. Any volunteer who wanted to have a conversation with me so that first we'll learn from a daily life example, then we'll go to what is software development life cycle. Any volunteer who wanted to summarize what is the process that involves the plain white rice preparation?
Just to go to the steps, we first, soak the rice and clean it. Clean it up with water. Then we add, some fixed amount of, measured amount of water into the
Mhm,
rice. And then, if you're using either a bowl or a cooker, based on that, you measure your, water and put it on the stove,
mhm,
and
mhm,
then have it boil for the stipulated time that you expect
mhm,
it to be. And then once it boils, turn it off and then keep it
mhm.
ready.
Okay. So you spoke about the gas stove, correct? Kiran?
That's right. Hmm.
Right. So I have the same story, but I'll portray it in a lot of different ways. So I can say rice preparation involves or the mediums or methods that we can use is of four types. One is gas stove, one is wood fire, one is pressure cooker, and the last one is automated way, which is with electric rice cooker. So which one we are mostly using now?
Rice cooker.
Electric rice cooker. Why? Why? Because we wanted to save time, right? We need automated way. Why? Because we are evolving in the technology, so we are using artificial intelligence mobile phones. We are no more using feature phones, the keypad phones, correct? We are not using landlines. So we have to move with the technology, correct? So are we still using wood fire to prepare rice? Guess let's have interactive session, right? So if you are not
No,
able to,
no.
yeah. So remember, if you are not able to make an interaction with the trainer, you won't be able to crack an interview. Simple. Why? Because if you're not talking with me, how you will make a communication with a technical panel who is a stranger to you, right? So let's have an interactive session, right? So wood fire, are we still using? Somebody say no, right?
We might be
So we are
using, but
use
percentage is very less.
yes. So in very big functions, we use wood fire. Why? Because if you use gas stove, the 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 fire won't be evenly spreading to the entire big vessel, correct? So that's why we are using wood fire outside in the functions, right? Wood fire, who is used to be our grandparents, correct? So that's a complex process. Why? Because you have to face the smoke, right? Your eyes will be burnt. A lot of patience is needed. A lot of things. So let's talk about the preparation of rice quickly. Let's say if I have to prepare rice for two people, I'll take 2 cups of raw rice first. I'll take a bowl. I'll put 2 cups of raw rice. I'll wash twice. Why? Because I don't wash more than twice. Why? Because all the vitamins, things, and will be going away. So I'll wash 2 times. And I'll add 4.5 cups of water now. 4.5 cup extra. Why? Why? Because I'm going to prepare manually over a gas stove. So if I have time, I'll soak it for 10 minutes. Why? Because if I soak it, the rice would be cooked absolutely perfect. So once 10 minutes is done, I'll be enlighting the gas stove and I'll be putting the bowl and I'll be putting a plate or lid. Then initially I'll put in high flame for 5 minutes. Then after 5 minutes, I'll be putting it in medium flame for 10 minutes. Then in lower flame or sim, I'll be putting it for 5 minutes and the rice would be absolutely cooked, correct?
Yep.
So ultimately the goal is there should not be any water in the bowl at the bottom, correct? To
Yeah.
cook absolutely plain rice. Now this is manual method. So every time there is a human intervention that is needed, correct? At every stage, we have to go with high flame, medium flame, sim. So let's say I put the bowl and I lighten up the gas stove, I put it in high flame and I'm going and watching television. What is going to happen?
Rice is gonna burn.
Rice is going to burn, right? So there is a process that you strictly have to follow to get a very good quality rice output, correct? Cooked rice. So this is one step. The second step is pressure cooker. The same process that you follow, but this time you use a pressure cooker, you put the lid. But the same high flame, medium flame, low flame process you follow, or you go with 2 or 3 whistles, correct? This is a manual
Yeah.
intervention is needed again. Now we are going with following automated way. Why? Why? Because we need to save time. So again, the same 2 cups. Now you add 4 cups of raw rice, water. Why? Because you're cooking in electric rice cooker. So you put the bowl, you close the lid of the electric rice cooker, you switch on, and you go ahead and enjoy watching TV. When rice would be cooked in 15 to 20 minutes, correct? When you wanted to eat, then only you come, you switch off the electric rice cooker switch, you open the lid, you take the rice, and you have it. So we are now following electric rice cooker method, correct? So what I wanted to conclude here is the wood fire, the gas stove method, pressure cooker method is the old methods, right? So we have a process to develop the software as well. So these three methods you can correlate with the traditional way of developing the software. But which one we are going with to develop the software? The modern methods like electric rice cooker we are using to automate the rice cooking process. In the same way, we are now using Azure Devops tools to automate the software development. So how? We'll be talking about it. So what we learned now? We learned there are 4 methods to prepare plain rice. Correct? You know, there is a step by step involved to prepare the rice. Correct? Do you think I'll be taking a bowl and I'll be lightening up the gas stove and I'll be putting the bowl over there and I'm taking one more bowl and I am adding rice and I'm washing it, I'm soaking it for 10 minutes. Then I am transferring the rice from other bowl to the bowl which was already heating up. Is that the process that we follow? Oh, right. So first step has to followed first only. You cannot follow fourth step at first level and first step at fourth step. No, there is a step-by-step process. The workflow has to be followed. So now let's understand how we develop the software from the scratch. So how we develop the software, let's understand. So likewise, lies preparation method, you have a process that involves developing the software as well. So we call that as software development lifecycle. So who will use
Hmm.
this lifecycle? Software industries will use this lifecycle. Why they use it? They, they design the software first. They develop the software and they test the software to see whether the software is having highest quality and security or not. Let's say I have some land I have given to a builder, right? So I'll be giving a plan as well, building plan to the builder, correct? So first what I have to do, I have to design my building plan before I go ahead and give the contract to the builder. Once I give the building plan to the builder, what they do, they will develop, which means they construct the building, correct? Once they construct it, don't you think that it is my responsibility to visit the site on daily basis to see what kind of material the builder is using, what kind of sanitary is using, what kind of tiles, bricks, cement, sand, what kind of wood he is using? Don't you think it is my responsibility to do the quality check as well?
Yes, you need to.
Correct? So do you think I'll be giving the contract to the builder and I'll be putting a timeline of 5 months or 6 months where the construction of the house to be delivered or handed over to me, and I'm not taking responsibility to visit my site, and I visited the site in the fifth month. And when I visited the site in fifth month, when I'm scratching the wall, the cement is coming out, which means what?
Poor quality.
Poor quality. So when you get a project from the customer or client, right? It is equal responsibility of the customer and it is equal responsibility of the developers from the respective company to check the quality of the software. Ultimately, what is our goal of software development lifecycle? We have to deliver the working software to the client as per the requirements that we have got from them within the timeline, right? So I give a contract and I set 6 months of time to the builder to construct the building. So if he's exceeding the time, what it means? The commitment is missed. So if you miss the commitment for our client in the software development project, will the customer agrees to it?
No.
No. So now this is a process that will be followed by software development industries to develop the software and to deliver within the timelines. Correct? Now we will go ahead and talk about different models. What are models? Like rice preparation, we have four processes, correct? So in software development as well, we can develop the software using different methods. So one of such method is waterfall model, agile model, you have spiral model, V model, lot of other models that you have. So every model has a step-by-step procedure. So today, how the software used to develop in the olden days, let's say 20 years back, 30 years back, we'll be talking today using waterfall model. So what is waterfall? What does waterfall means? Let's say if I'm taking a glass of water and I'm pouring from upside to downside to the ground level, will I be able to bring the water back to the glass? I'm not a magician, correct? I'm not a god.
Like something we can't change in the middle, right? So the waterfall
Yes.
method. Yeah.
So let's say a river flows in a direction with the water, correct? Once a river is flowing in a direction, will I be able to bring the water back? I'm not KCR. I expect some laugh, guys. I'm not KCR, correct? So I'm not God, I'm not a magician. Once the process has been implemented, I cannot revert it back. I cannot come back. That is waterfall model. So waterfall model has been used 2 decades back. So to develop the software, 2 decades back, waterfall model is being used. 20 years back, it is not being used now. Are you still using landlines? Are you still using basic keypad feature phones? No, right? So we
No.
have modern methods now. So today we are going to understand how the software is to develop using waterfall model and how it is being developed using agile model now, right? So let me take out the slides and go with the real-time example. Okay, let me take out the slides. So let's say if I have to install a software called Google Chrome, what I do, guys?
Search Google Chrome in Google.
Just
Once
search in the
internet
browser.
is there,
You see,
internet is
internet is
available.
there. I opened something called browser, and you see I'm getting into google.com. I believe the screen is visible, correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm downloading this. I've gone into Google official website, and you can see a button called download Chrome. So if I click on this, what will happen?
It's gonna
It will
download.
download in your PC.
You see, the Chrome setup.exe has been downloaded, correct? What is
Yeah.
this? Did you ever bothered what is .exe file? Who has placed it in official Google website here? Did you ever bothered? No,
No.
correct. When we
No.
need a browser, we know that we need to have internet. We need to open a browser when we have to search. You download it and you double click to install. Then the Google Chrome browser would be installed in our local machine, correct? But we never bothered as to what is this .exe file, correct? So what is the
Yeah.
size of the file? What is the size of the file? So if I go to my downloads, the size of the file is 1.3 KB or 1.3 MB, correct? So if you double click this, what happens? The Chrome browser would be installed. Where, if you go to C drive, if you go to program files, you can see a Google folder. You can see Chrome, correct? So how come these files will be created? When you double click, these are all the files would be extracted, correct? So what are there in this? You can see all the application related files, programming related files. You can see this is XML file. Let's open this up. It is opening in Visual Studio with some XML code. You see some code is there. Who developed this? Guess who developed that code? A developer from Google company. Agree?
Yeah.
Yes.
Agree? So how come this .exe file has generated? Let's look at one more example. Let's say I'm creating a folder. Let's say I'm a developer. I'm creating a folder. This is my project folder stating that Chrome browser. Let's say I open this and I'm creating programming files now, right? Let's assume this is some Java code. This is some Java code. 1 minute, guys. So let's assume this is some Java code, guys. Okay, I'm saving this file as. So save as type is all, and where I want to save on desktop, Chrome. Let's save this as something called chrome.java file. This is a Java programming language that might have been used to develop Google Chrome browser. Now you see Java source code file has been come here. Let's say developer is developing more number of files for Chrome browser. Do you think once a developer is developed the code, the developer would be sending all of these files to the client and say that the development is done?
No.
No,
No.
it's
What
you're
they
gonna
do,
send it to testing.
they will
I think so.
compile. They will compile the code. How? Let's say I'm right clicking on this and I'm sending this file to a zip folder. Okay, I'm sending this
Mhm.
file to a zip folder. You see, instead of sending all these files to the customer, we'll compile this code and we'll send only one file. What is this file extension?
Zip.
.zip. So this file would be placed here and this will be made available to the public like us. So this is open source software browser, correct? Are we paying anything to use Google Chrome browser?
No.
No. So now you understood how the developer develops the code, how the code is compiled, and how that file will be placed here.
Yes,
Uh,
little.
You're learning
Yes.
something new, right? You're learning
Yep.
something new which you might not be knowing about it. Now, the process that involves in developing the files, compiling it, and delivering the software. Don't you think we have delivered the software now? When you are placing the software here, when you are placing your software here, which means this software is available in production environment, which means available to public like us. So we learn how the process involves in delivering the software to the client we'll study today with a real-time example. So we'll play a lot of roles now. So let's assume our customer is Flipkart today. What is Flipkart?
So online platform marketplace, so where we can buy stuff.
So it's basically a e-commerce website, correct? May I know
Yep.
in which year it was established in India?
Around 2009 and 10.
2008 to 9, correct? Yeah, you're right. Right. So let's assume we are going back 20 years. I mean, when Flipkart was not in existence in the market over the internet. Okay. So Flipkart is a startup, agree? In 2008 or 2009. How the startups will be starting? With a human being like us. A human being would be having an idea. So to turn that idea into reality, we have to invest money, correct? So how Paytm, how Google Pay, Phone Pay, or how Zomato has been come up in India, they are also startups, correct? And
Yep.
they are very big companies now. Why? Because every company is successful, correct? So in the same
Yep.
way, Flipkart has started its business in 2009 or 2010 in India. Let's forget whether it's a own idea or whether it is a copied idea from United States Amazon.com. Because Amazon.com is also e-commerce website. It was existing from years, from 20s itself. So somebody might have copied. Let's forget. We are not here to talk about that story. But the CEO of the Flipkart or the owner of the Flipkart has given business to a company called TCS. What is TCS? It's a software development company, correct? And we are calling Flipkart as customer or a client, and TCS is a software development company. So let's assume we are all part of TCS. We are all the employees of TCS now.
Yep.
Okay? And we have a customer like Flipkart. Now what happened? We got the project. When we got the project, what we have to do? What is the project that we have got? Software development project. You have to deliver Flipkart website. Flipkart
Yep.
website has to be delivered. In what is the timeline? 60 days is the timeline that customer has given, right? So let's talk about something called project start date.
Yep.
May I know what is the project start date? Let's assume today. We
Today.
got the project today. So today being what? 22nd January
22nd.
2023. Let's say project end date. When is the end date if you take 2 months? 23rd of March
Yep.
23 is the end date, correct? So
Yep.
this is the delivery date of the project. Now, what TCS has done, TCS has got one more project. The client is, let's say Apple. Project start date is, they agreed to start the project from 24th of March 2023. Let's forget about end date. Okay? Guys, you're
Yep.
understanding we are going with two scenarios. Why? Because you'll understand at the end of this class. So, but this is the delivery date of the project. Correct? This we have to remember now. Now,
Yep.
since we got the project, let's say I have to prepare rice. Obviously, I have to follow the procedure, correct? Now we got the project, we have to follow these stages. These are the stages that are there in software development lifecycle. So what is the first stage? Planning.
Planning it.
So what we do in planning? We do all of these things. So since we got the project, so customer has to give the head count. How many 23 billable, resources we have to hire, plus buffer. Why buffer additional people? Why we have to hire? Why? Because on a given day, not all the 23 people will go to office. Why? Because we are human beings, we fall sick, we have personal leaves, we have emergency leaves, we have somebody passed out in our family, some rituals have to be attended, some family functions. So on a given day, 23 people won't be attending it. That's where if you need to hire buffer. If you don't have buffer, what happens? This timeline will impact. So if you don't have three developers join today, who will do the work of those three developers? Who will do the work of those three developers?
It will be
It will
backlog.
hold.
It will be delayed. Correct. Customer won't be satisfied. That's where we have to have buffer to substantiate whosoever is going on leave. The work has to be done by other. So headcount is decided. Billing. So obviously, do we work in a company free of cost? No. So client will be giving the financial amount to TCS. TCS will be paying us in terms of salary. Then licenses are infrastructure. What are licenses or infrastructure? So for all the 23 people who will give the laptops, who will give or install Windows operating system, Windows Server operating system, SQL Server database, Visual Studio for developing the code, compiler tools, who will give? It's customer who has to supply all the licenses. Do you think we'll be using pirated softwares in real time?
No,
No, right? So we have to have licenses and transport, the pick and drop of the employees, food for the employees, logistics for the employees, infrastructure and payment gateway. Everything has to be given by customer in planning state, right? This is first stage. So how many employees we have now? 23. So how
Yeah.
the categorization is happening? So three people we are assigning to planning team, three people to requirement gatherings, five people to design, six people to developmental task, three people to testings, two people for release and deployment, one for maintenance. And how many days? 60 days. So 5 days has been assigned to planning team, 5 days to requirement gatherings, 10 days to designing, and 30 days for development. Why? Because development takes a lot of time. Developing the code is not so easy. So converting the requirement into code will take a lot of time. And 5 days is for testing and 5 days is for development. I am least bothered about maintenance. My job is to deliver the software or application to the client. I'm not worried about who is going to use it. I'm going to worried about I need to prepare the rice and kept it ready. So who is coming and eating, I'm not bothered. Okay, we'll talk about this later. So these are all the steps involved. So planning team is done now. And next requirement gatherings team will be coming in. And they'll be taking 5 days. So what they do, they gather the requirements. What are the requirements if I open flipkart.com? They will say, okay, the logo has to be come here. Okay, this is where the search box, this is how the sign in cart and the modules, the ongoing offers, all the offers here, right? And at the end, what we need the Flipkart address, payment gateway related information, social networking sites, Flipkart customer support, about Flipkart careers, everything has to become. So these are all the requirements that would be gathered. Who? TCS will gather from Flipkart. Once that is done, we will freeze the requirement gatherings. Once we got the requirements, we will freeze the requirements. Then the design team will come and they design the website. How? They will see what are the colors that we have to use. Blue color, this is how the logo would be coming up, this is how the font color, font size, everything would be decided by the design team. So you like flipkart.com or amazon.in, guys, from the look and feel?
Mm,
Amazon.
I think
I,
both looks
I
good.
like I like Flipkart.
I opt for Flipkart. Why? Because look and feel and navigation is pretty much easy in Flipkart, but Amazon is plain white, plain white. But Amazon gives a lot of offers compared to Flipkart, right?
Yeah.
So that's another story. But this is how the requirement gatherings and design phase will done. Once the designing is done, your builder will come into picture. Builder is nothing but your developer. They start developing the building or constructing the building, right? So to construct the building what is needed? Equipment, correct? Masons are needed, equipment is needed, cement is needed, sand is needed, right? you need water, you need electricity, a lot of things that are needed. Even for developer, there are a lot of things that are needed. What is the role of a developer? Develop the code. They might be expert in Java, .NET, whatever it is, right? They need to develop the code. Their responsibility is to not to worry about setting up the laptop, installing the softwares, everything, right? So developers will take this much time to develop the code to satisfy the requirements of the customer. Then the testers will come and they test the code and certify that the requirements that we have got from the customer are absolutely working perfect. Or if there is any bug, they will be raising it with development team again. So developers have to fix the bug. They have to rewrite the code and then they have to fix the bug. And then we have to certify that the testing is went well. Then your release and deployment team will get into picture and they deploy the website into the production environment. So that the flipkart.com is made available to the public like us. So we can sign up, we can browse the products, we can add to the cart, we can proceed to the payment gateway, we can pay it with debit card, credit card, net banking, UPI, wallets, and we can order the product and the product would be delivered in the stipulated time. So this is all about the software development process. Now you got some knowledge as to how the software you will develop. Agree?
Yes,
Yep.
yes. Got some
Right?
idea.
Now let's get into the next step. So what we are talking about now, we are talking about waterfall model. So what are the flaws of cooking food over fire? You have to have patience. You need to
Yep.
bear the eye burnt pain, correct? And you have to use cloths to hold the vessel and to mix the rice at times. Lot of struggles, correct? But we are not here to undergo those struggles now. We are going with automated way. There is no fire, there is no smoke. Without anything, your electricity is cooking the rice, correct? With the heat that is getting generated from the thermostat, correct? Now, why we are not using this waterfall model? Let's talk about disadvantages. Obviously, why you are not using landlines now? Why you are not using CRT monitors now? Why? Because you cannot carry wherever you are going, correct? That's where we have laptop. You have tablets, you have mobiles. So wherever you wanted to go to any corner of the world, you can carry. If you have internet, you can do anything, correct? So this is like a CRT monitor. We cannot use this waterfall model anymore. Why? Lot of disadvantages. The very first disadvantage is dependency between each and every team. So we have 23 members. We have hired 3 members who are specialized in planning the things only. So this team will work on planning the activities and they took 5 days. While they are working, planning team is working with Flipkart. Every other team should sit idle. They don't have any work. Gathering, requirement gatherings, design team, development team, testing team, deployment, maintenance, they don't have any work. They just have to sit idle until the planning team completes. Once the planning team is completed, the requirement gathering team will be pitching in and they will be working with Flipkart. And every other team has to sit idle. Once this team is done, then only the design team will be pitching in. So here there is a dependency. So once one team is completed, then only the next team can pitch in. That's the reason why this project takes 60 days and it might extend as well at times. So the second disadvantage is the gap between development team and operations team. So developer do what? They just code. But customer is coming now and asking developer stating that, hey guys, hey developers, I need a SQL Server database to be implemented now. Do you think developer will get the license from Microsoft and configure the SQL Server database, or developer job is to just write the code?
They have to
The developers
configure
will
it as per the requirement.
So the developer's responsibility in software development is just to write the code. But when client is asking some requirement, this development team has to reach out to operations team, IT operations team from TCS. So the internal IT operations team has to procure the SQL Server database. From where they procure? From Microsoft. SQL Server database is a product of Microsoft, correct? So we have to use genuine license. So for that, this operations team has to procure it from Microsoft. So it will take time. Do you think when the developer is making a request with operations team, they will be giving right away? They will take days. It might go 1 week, 10 days. But meanwhile, your customer would be keeping calm and quiet when it is getting delayed? No, they won't be happy. That's the
They
reason
will
why
escalate.
there is a huge delay that happens with development team and IT operations team from TCS. Correct? If development team need Linux server, do you think developers are capable enough to install and configure the Linux operating system and server? No, they don't know anything. They are just there to develop the code. That's it. Again, they have to make a request with IT team. Do you think IT team from TCS will be building the operating system quickly and giving it to the developers? No, they will take time. So there will be only few IT support engineers working in company for this project, 2 or 3 members. So one superior engineer might be going on leave, right? Some other team member from IT support engineer might come late to the office, and there is a junior IT support engineer, he doesn't know anything. So it will delay like that. So there is a huge delay between developer and operations team. That's where we are clubbing both of them and we are calling it as DevOps. So if you use DevOps approach, there should not be any delay. If the developer needs SQL Server database, if developer needs Kubernetes service, if developers needs Docker, virtual machines, web apps, anything, it will be just in the matter of couple of minutes, seconds in cloud. So how? We'll talk about. The third disadvantage is, so we developed the code, we tested, now it's time to deploy, means deliver the project. So how many days we have to deliver the project? 5 days, correct? Agree? So when we have 5 days only to deliver the project, which means we are in third week of March, correct? We're in the
Yeah.
third week of March, correct? Now customer is coming and saying, hey guys, okay, well and good, you developed everything. When we have 5 days, when we have 5 days left, customer is appreciating us and stating that, guys, I'm changing my mindset. Can you include a drop down here? Drop down is nothing but like this, like this, like this. Earlier in top offers, there is no drop down. See, do you see drop down here when I'm hovering? No. But when I hover on home, what I'm getting? Home furnishing, studio, let's say living room, kitchen, dining, bedroom, everything I'm getting. When I'm hovering on electronics, I'm getting electronics, GST store, computers, gaming, health, laptop, everything I'm getting. When I'm hovering on fashion, I'm getting men, women, kids fashion, correct? Winter wear, everything. So in the same way, customer is now coming to TCS and saying, guys, I need a drop down in top offers. So whenever they hover on top offers, they should get something like men 10% discount, women 20% discount, kids 13% discount, laptops 18% discount, flights 20% discount. So when they hover on the drop down, those are the options should come up. Now, guys, we have 5 more days to deliver the project. Do you think at this point of time, this new request accommodation is possible?
No.
No, not at all. So let's talk on the fun side now. Let's say my wife relatives are coming into my home today. So I'm trying to help my wife in cooking. So I'm preparing plain rice for them, right? And she has gone out to buy some groceries, things and stuff. So I thought of helping her. So I wash the rice and I put it in the pressure cooker or electric rice cooker, and it's about 10 minutes that I switched on the rice, and my wife has come and she is asking, what are you doing? So I'm saying I'm preparing plain rice. Are my relatives are coming, you're preparing plain rice, I'm expecting biryani to be cooked by you. So do you think is it possible?
No. Uh,
The
See how to start
half
from the beginning.
half the way the rice is cooked, correct? Now if I have to cook a biryani, I have to throw the plain rice. I need basmati rice, I need ghee, I need oil, I need spices. Let's say if it is chicken biryani, I need to buy the non-veg in a marination process. So it will take at least 2.5 hours, correct? But by the time the relatives have already come and it's lunchtime has completed, do you think at this particular point of time is it possible? No. So, implementing or accepting a requirement at any point of time is not possible in waterfall model. Once the process is implemented, once the requirement gatherings is freezed, that's done. So, if you think that we have a good relation with Flipkart customer, TCS has a good relationship with Flipkart customer. If you accept the requirement, what happens? This 60 days will become 70 days, correct? Why? Because planning team has to plan, requirement gatherings has to gather the requirements again, design team has to design the drop down, developers have to develop additional code, testing has to be done, everything has to be done, correct? So this goes to 70 days. But what is the thing? TCS has already committed to Apple. So which customer is important now, Apple or Flipkart at the last stage? Because which client is important at the last stage?
Both are
Because
important.
you're getting a new project and new money, now Apple should be important.
No, Apple is important for me. Why? Because I don't want to miss the commitment. Why? Because it's customer mistake that he is coming, he is realizing, he is changing the mindset. He's a Kirak customer. We cannot do anything. Sorry, but this is how in traditional way of software development you cannot accept the change. Apple is important for me now. Why? Because I'm at the verge of delivering the project. Now customer is changing the mindset. It will become 70 days and do you think customer will pay for additional 10 days salary? Additional 10 days billing, licenses, transport, food? No, they don't pay. Why? Because why this customer is important for me, once the project is delivered, I'm gonna use the same 23 members for Apple project. I need to start from the 24th of March itself. So I don't have additional members. So if I have additional 23 members team, probably I would have compromised and I would have accepted the change. But these employees are gonna committed for all Apple project now. So what happens in software development? Once a project is delivered, if you don't have any projects, all these team members would be going on bench. They don't have any work. And if they don't get projects, they will be getting a pink slip. They will be thrown out of the company. Why? Because once the software is developed, that's it. The maintenance and monitoring probably Flipkart itself can take, or Flipkart can give the project to some other company. So these are the disadvantages that we have in the waterfall model, guys. So to avoid these, you have DevOps that is coming into picture. So what is DevOps now? Before I talk about DevOps, let's talk about the same example. Okay, let me take the snippet again. So in DevOps, what happens, every team would be simultaneously working. So big requirement we'll be getting. What is the big requirement? To develop Flipkart.com. So to develop Flipkart.com, what are major things? These modules, correct? So if I want to buy groceries, I'll click here, correct? I'll only get related to groceries. If I wanted to buy, let's say, mobile phones, I'll click on this. So everything is a module. So what happens in DevOps, the big requirement would be split into smaller chunks. So this module would be picked up by developer 1. Let's assume we have 3 developers in the project. Let's say this mobile modules is being picked up by developer 2. Fashion module is being picked up by developer 3. Okay, let's say developer 1 developed the code and committed. The developer will be going and picking electronics module. Then the tester would be coming up. T1 tester would be coming up and they would be testing the requirement. Meanwhile, developer 2 has done. Developer 2 will be picking up this. Tester 2 will start testing this mobile module. Meanwhile, tester 1 completed their job. and developer 3 completed. Developer 3 is picking up appliances module. Meanwhile, tester 1 will be coming up here. Meanwhile, you have release and deployment team which will be releasing this groceries module into production. Tester 2 done. Tester 2 would be coming up here. Release and deployment team will be coming up here and deploying this mobile module into production. Then you have maintenance and monitoring team will be coming and monitoring groceries module. Guys, what is happening here? Don't you think every team member is parallelly working, simultaneously working? Correct? So how this can be
Yes.
possible, when you go with agile methodology and DevOps approach, this can be possible. Why? Because we'll be using a lot of modern tools here. So if you go with this approach, your project delivery would happen in 40 days only instead of 60 days. That's the reason why we are going with the DevOps approach now. Now, in this particular phase, we can accommodate the customer at any point of time and we can accept the changes from the customer. We are more than happy to accept the changes from the customer. Customer can say that, guys, I don't need drop down now. Can you remove it? Can you apply drop down here? We can approve. We can apply drop down in travel as well. Right? Everything can be possible in DevOps. Why? Because we do continuous integration, continuous delivery. Continuous integration is what we always, continuous is every time we take the requirement from the customer, whether it is new requirements, existing changes, or new feature requests, whatever that you call it as. We can accept the changes in DevOps, but we cannot approach or go with the waterfall model. So nowadays we are in 2022. So if you don't accept the changes from the customer, what will happen? If you say no to the customer now, let's say you're TCS, you're a project manager, a delivery manager from TCS, you're not agreeing to customer now in 2022 with the new changes. What is happening?
We lost the project.
Just customer will say goodbye, guys. I'm taking out the project, I'm ramping up the project, and I'm giving this project to some other company. So that's where we have a lot of modern tools available now to make sure that it is making our job too easy to deliver the project. So now let's move on to the other slides that we have. So what we just learned, we learned waterfall model steps, requirements to maintenance, and we learned the disadvantages, the major disadvantages. I don't want to go with again. Agile model. So the model that we just spoke, where we are doing parallel jobs or simultaneous jobs, is nothing but implementing agile model. So agile is nothing but flexibility. So nowadays we need to be very flexible enough with the customer. We have to accept the changes. We have to say okay to them. You cannot say no nowadays. So agile model is nothing but we get a big requirement. We'll be splitting into smaller chunks and we'll be setting a short-term goal. So if the project delivery is 60 days, in the very first 5 days, we'll be doing this piece of job and we'll be delivering to the client. So a big requirement, a long-term goal would be split into short-term goals and everything would be delivered in cycles. That is nothing but agile model. So at the end of the day, what you deliver a quality software which is having highest security. So agile software development method emphasis on iterative, incremental and evolutionary development. So this is a model that is being used widely in the market now. None of the customers are using waterfall model. It's gone. So everybody is going and using agile model. So the best example for agile model is all the e-commerce websites, all the social networking sites, if I have to talk about. So if I installed WhatsApp application in my mobile today, don't you think tomorrow or after 1 week, after 1 month, WhatsApp will be sending an update to me, correct? With new features, security updates, firmware upgrades. If I don't update, what is going to happen?
Maybe hacking security
Yes,
flaws. So it is not
security
expected as per.
right? So virus attacks can happen, ransomware attacks can happen, a lot of things. So, but why WhatsApp will take the feedback from customers and implement new features? Why? Because it has to sustain in the market, correct? So why Nokia is not in the market now? It is there, but do you think anybody buying Nokia phones? But earlier it was a king in the market, correct? It has ruled the mobile industry, correct? But why Nokia we are not hearing, we are not buying mobiles? Why? Because Nokia did not adopted
New
Android.
features.
Android operating system was not being adopted by Nokia. That's the reason why it has gone. Samsung has adopted and it has ruled for some time. But nowadays, who is ruling in the market? MI, Redmi, Oppo, Realme. Apple is also ruling the market. So, a client, a customer. See, WhatsApp is a customer. Agree? It's a company, but it's a customer. They have to make sure that they are agreeing to the customer feedbacks. They have to take the feedback from the customer and they always have to improvise the project. Then only they'll be able to sustain in the market. Otherwise, no. So every product in the world has to be upgraded with new features. Then only you can get market attention by the customers. Otherwise, no. That's where DevOps is trending nowadays in the market. That's where we have a lot of jobs. Every company is following DevOps approach and implementing the software development methodology. The delay we already learned. Development team and IT operations we have already learned. So now let's talk about the jobs that operations team does in a company. What they will do, they will supply the server hardware and operating system that is required. They configure the server's network storage that is required for the application to be deployed or delivered to the client. They monitor the servers, they respond to outages, they take care of security of the website, they take care of change control, and they will be taking care of the backup and disaster recovery of the application, and they take care of production support. As we deploy Flipkart.com into the production website. Did you ever seen Flipkart, Amazon, Myntra, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter going down?
Yes, yes.
Very less time, correct? Why? Because they're all in cloud. So if you are in cloud, the respective cloud service provider like Microsoft will take care of backup and disaster recovery of the application. Even though servers crashes, Microsoft will move your application to an active server so that your website downtime will be very less. So your website is going down, it will hit on reputation, it will hit on your business. So customers will move to Amazon or other websites. So what is Microsoft Azure now? So we are going to learn the DevOps on cloud platform now. What is a cloud platform? Microsoft Azure. So Microsoft, well-known product-based company, and it has been into developing multiple products, starting from operating systems, right? MS Office, SQL Server Database, Visual Studio, PowerShell, Power BI, Power Apps and Flow, right? .NET technologies, right? And it has been into developing gaming consoles like Xbox, and it has been into cloud computing technology since the year 2010. 2010, they have been into a service called Microsoft Azure, which is from cloud computing platform. So here what we do, we take the servers on rent. We don't buy the servers upfront. We take the servers on rent and we'll be paying as per whatever the usage that we have done. We don't pay anything extra. So we'll pay here per minute. We don't we don't buy the servers. We take the servers on rent and we deploy our applications. And if you don't need the application, you delete the infrastructure. That's it. And you don't have to pay anything. So Microsoft Azure is commonly referred as Azure. It's a cloud computing service which was created by Microsoft. Why they built? For building the applications, testing the applications, deploying and managing the applications through their Microsoft managed data centers. So we are going to learn DevOps on Azure. So now let's talk about DevOps. So by this time you might have got an understanding as to what is DevOps. So this is a modern methodology that we have available in the market. So DevOps is all about Dev development team, ops operations team. So they both have to collaborate and coordinate always on daily basis to make sure that they gather the requirements, they develop the code, they test it, then we use continuous integration and continuous delivery, and we deliver the product, application, software to the customer with highest quality and without compromising on the security. So if you go with DevOps approach, what we do, it helps us to enable rapid development of products within no time. Why? Because every team would be simultaneously working here. Every team would be simultaneously working. So DevOps brings people together, processes, technology, and automating the software delivery to provide continuous value to our end customers, our clients, whosoever it is. So ultimately, we'll be delivering a reliable product and we'll be adding a lot of value to the customer. So this is the life cycle of DevOps. So we learned a RISE preparation life cycle. We learned a software development life cycle. Let's learn about DevOps life cycle. Guys, don't you think everybody, every product in the world has a life cycle? We human beings have a life cycle, correct? So we'll be coming from our mother's womb after spending 9 months, and kid will become an adult. So adult can get married again, kids, schooling, marriage. Again, you will become a senior citizen. Then you'll become old. You die. Life cycle, right? It is starting and it is having a beginning. So every product has a beginning. Let's say laptop, mobile phone. It will be built from scratch and it will work for a few years, and it might come with a problem and the problem cannot be fixed, so we'll buy a new mobile. So in the same way, everything has a life cycle. So even Azure DevOps is having a life cycle. So here what you do, you plan the things like the same software development stage planning. Then you develop the things. The developer will be developing. Then the DevOps engineer will be playing a role here using Azure Pipeline service. So we'll be integrating and building the software. Then we'll be packaging it. The testing engineers will test it. The release and deployment team will be releasing it to the production environment, and the maintenance and monitoring team will be monitoring the servers in the production environment. And they take feedback from the customers. And again, customer might come up with new requirements. We plan it, we develop, we integrate. So this life cycle, if you see, is going in an infinity loop. Agree? This life cycle is going in an infinity loop, correct? This is a never ending process. Guys, DevOps projects are long term projects. Until customer comes and say that, guys, we are done with the project, we have to stop then only. Otherwise, still it will continue. DevOps is a never ending process. Why it is a never ending process? Customer will always come with changes, so we have to accommodate. That's where it is a never ending process. So if you see a lot of tools that we are using here for planning, Azure boards. For developing, we are using GitHub integration or Azure repos. For DevOps engineer, for integrating and building, we'll be using Azure pipelines. So artifacts, Azure artifact, test plans. We'll use Kubernetes, Docker, web applications for release and deployment stuff. We'll use Azure monitoring tool. Everything is inbuilt tool that we have here. Everything is inbuilt. So this is a life cycle, and people will always ask for the certification path. Kranti, well and good. We are going to enroll this course. We'll complete the course. But what next? Is it required and mandatory to complete the certification? If you ask me, I say no. I say no. Why? Because certification is optional. But few people will aspire to clear the certification as well. Right? So for them, what we are covering is we don't just covering Azure DevOps case. So you cannot learn Azure DevOps directly. You have to first learn what are cloud computing, what is Azure fundamentals. Then you have to learn some administration concepts. Then only you will be able to complete Azure DevOps certification. Why? Because Azure DevOps is a bit advanced topic. So without learning the basics, you cannot directly clear the certification. So if in case you wanted to clear Azure DevOps certification, you either have to complete AZ 104 certification code or Azure Administrator or Azure Developer, which is AZ 204. But after completing this course with me, You will be able to clear AZ 900. You'll be able to clear AZ 104. You'll also be able to clear and get eligibility to do AZ 400, which is Azure DevOps Expert. Why? Because our course content includes these two, then only we'll be getting into this. Why? Because I cannot start DevOps directly. Why? Because if I start about Azure DevOps, it's like a Chinese movie. You don't understand anything. That's where I have a habit of starting from the scratch. So this is the certification path, guys. So let's get into the course curriculum now. Let's get into the course curriculum. So as I said, we'll be starting from the very scratch. So we'll go with cloud overview. So we'll be covering the basic DevOps concept. What is IT architecture? What is domain name system? What is networking? So we'll be covering the basic concept from Azure as to what is account, a tenant, a subscription, resource groups, resources. Then we'll start with Azure networking concepts. Then we'll start with Linux from the scratch. Guys, Linux is a base and prerequisite to go ahead and get started with DevOps. So if you don't know about Linux commands, nothing to worry. Why? Because I'm here to teach you everything from scratch. You can leave everything up to me. So there is no prerequisite for this course. Even a fresher can go ahead and attend. Why? Because I'm
Uh,
here to teach everything from a layman language.
but Kranti, is it really possible? Okay, because I don't know any coding language. Okay, though I have involved into the software development, so but
Mhm.
I really don't. Okay, so from the
It's
scratch within
okay.
this short period of time, so you can
Just
able
that you have
to.
to come with just that you have to come with positive mindset. That's it. Okay, there is
Okay,
no coding prerequisite required. Why? Because I'll be here to start everything from scratch. Guys, we're not developers. People will always get into assumptions that we are learning Azure DevOps course. We need to know the coding. No, not at all. We are not developers. We are Azure DevOps engineers. We will be working along with developers, testers, a lot of other teams. So what is that team I'll be going with anyways? Then we'll go with Azure Compute Service. We'll talk about virtual machines, availability sets, virtual machine scale set. Images are nothing but operating systems. So we'll get in depth into networking topics. Then storage. So storage, network, compute are the components in cloud. So these are very much important. Then we'll go with the DevOps tools like source code management tools like Git, GitHub. So Git is a version controlling tool which will be used by developers. GitHub is like a Google Drive where we'll be having the code stored there. And we'll be talking about infrastructure as code. So we'll talk about Terraform. So we'll use some code like HCL, HashiCorp configuration language. So that will be based on Golang language. So how that code will help us in deploying and creating the infrastructure, we'll talk about it. Then we'll go to a configuration management tool called Ansible. So this tool is a very good tool from automation perspective, where we can install softwares in multiple machines or systems in a single go. Then we'll talk about Jenkins. So Jenkins is a CI/CD tool which will be used by DevOps engineers. So this is a tool which is required from the industry point of view now. So we'll spend a lot of time on Jenkins and we'll create multiple pipelines and we'll deliver the projects. Then the most happening tools that will go with are Docker and Kubernetes. So these are the most happening tools in the market now and a lot of value that we have. So we'll be covering both Dockers and Kubernetes from the DevOps perspective. We'll be using these for deployments. Then we'll talk about monitoring tools called the internal monitoring tool Azure
Kranti,
Monitor.
for
Mhm.
Docker and Kubernetes, we require a YAML, is it? So YAML. eh,
Yeah, we require YAML, but here in our case, we can go with commands, we can go with YAML script as well. But we mostly work with YAML in Ansible to create
Acha, acha.
configuration files.
So okay, there is also another language that we need to require. Is it?
Yes. Guys, nothing to worry. I'm here to give you every documentation from scratch. Okay?
Yes, yes. Okay, we are counting on. Okay, which is why we are here.
Yeah,
Okay. So,
yeah. So Azure Monitor is an internal tool which will be used for monitoring once we deploy the server into the production environment. So we'll monitor CPU, RAM, storage, network, disk read, write, a lot of things, availability of the server, everything would be monitored. And we'll be using a third-party tool called Negios as well. Right? This is the most widely used tool in the market now, which is having a lot of scope. Then we'll be getting into the Azure Devops services. So these are all inbuilt services which will be used to deliver the project. So we mostly concentrate on Azure pipelines. Why? Because this is a DevOps service that is being used mostly by us in the market. So with this, we will be completing the course with this course content. So this content is as per the market standards. Why? Because being a technical manager and I do a lot of hiring, so I do a lot of market research and I know what companies are asking, what kind of tools, skill sets. So we have gone with and prepared this content based on that case. So now coming to the course, right? So we are gonna
Kranti,
start our yeah guys.
yeah, actually, I'm in like a cyber security engineer. How
Mhm.
it will be helpful this DevOps for me if I learn?
I mean, cyber security is altogether a different topic, Karthik, I believe, right? So, but
Yes,
nowadays you have DevSecOps that is coming into picture.
yes, yes.
DevOps we are gonna learn, but there is something called DevSecOps, which means security is playing a very prominent role there. So that is an
Yes.
advanced level of topic. Probably your cyber security, safeguarding your websites from threats, malicious attacks, or ransomware attacks, right? Or from networking
Mm-hmm.
perspective is purely from the SecOps perspective, DevSecOps.
Okay.
So if you have plans in moving to a DevOps side, yes, that
Mm,
cyber security will definitely come into picture. Okay, guys, just
okay.
give me 2 minutes. I'll be open to Q&A, question and answer, anyways. So this is pretty much from the course content. So as our coordinator might have pinged in the chat window, so we are going to start the new batch from 24th of January, which is Tuesday, day after tomorrow. So the timings are going to be from morning 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Indian time. So morning 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Indian time. So at times, I mean Monday to Friday we generally take it, but Saturday and Sundays as well at times, if it is really required, we'll be taking it. Why? Because we might get or come up with some holidays, or I might fall sick at times, right? To talk about facts. So we at times take on Saturday and Sundays as well, but I'll be giving prior intimation if I'm taking on Saturday or Sunday, on Friday or Thursday itself. So the course duration will last for 2 months, guys. So 2 months is a course duration. We are gonna start the new batch from 24th of January itself. The timings are gonna from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. So this
And
is all about, yeah,
it's just
yeah,
one
go ahead.
hour, 1 hour, or it's going to like extend more every day. Like,
No,
so
it
it's just a
is
one.
gonna be 1 hour. It's a
It's
1 hour
gonna be one
session.
hour. Okay.
Yeah. So that
So it.
uh, classes that I gonna take on Saturday and Sunday, it would be lengthy classes. So I'll be at least taking 3 hours. Why? Because I'm gonna cover a lot of workshops related stuff. So I have a project. Let me show you that project. So this is how the project structure would be, guys. Let's say if you consider your client as Walmart and you're working for TCS, and the customer has given 60 days for the project delivery. So you hire certain people and a buffer. So this is a project team, and we'll be playing a role here as DevOps engineer, but we'll be coordinating with everybody. So in the real-time classes, we'll play every role, guys, from real time. We'll have role plays. Why? Because I just don't concentrate on DevOps engineer. Why? Because you have to collaborate and coordinate with everybody in the project. So that once you get a job as a DevOps engineer, you should not have to worry about your sustainability. So this is a project that I always correlate while we are going with the theory practicals. I'll come here and I'll say we are playing this role today. We are playing this role today, right? We'll play multiple roles as well at times. So at the end of the day or end of the course, you will understand all these roles and what each and every role will do in real time. You'll understand. Yeah. Now I'm open to any questions, guys, that you guys have.
Kranti, I have a question.
Yeah,
Wow.
go ahead.
Yeah, actually, Kranti, the end of what we are learning like DevOps tools, all Ansible and Git and everything. So after
Mhm.
the course, are we going to do any sample project like how the tools will be integrated with the
So it's
Jenkins and
every day it's a project case. Every day it's a
no,
project. I showed you a project, right? So
yeah,
we will be part of the team. Okay, I'll play a role. Probably I might play a client role. I might play a project manager. I'll ask you to play some other role, right? So the training, the 2 months that we are gonna do is we'll have to assume that we are all working in a company. We have a customer. Customer will give requirement, and the requirement will come to us. And how all of us together sync up, coordinate, collaborate, and deliver the project is all about the course. Which means I don't want to put that we'll be doing couple of projects here. Every day it's a project. I believe by this demo, you might have understood what is the pace that I'm going with, how the daily examples that I'm bringing in to help you guys understand. So it's all about from the daily life that I'll be talking about, so that you can easily correlate. You should not have to worry about your sustainability. Just that come with positive attitude, dedication, and determination. So we'll be having 1 hour class on daily basis. You go back, you at least practice 4 to 5 hours on daily basis. Then only you'll be able to reach towards the intermediate level. And ultimately, it's you. You have to come up with self confidence. You should not have to prove to me that Kranti, I now got self confidence. It's you. You have to talk to yourself that where are you standing at the zero of the day, and after completing the course, where exactly you are standing. So ultimately, my goal is to help you to crack an interview yourself.
thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Kranti,
Hi,
just an
Kranti.
extension.
Hey,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
So the
Hi,
extension to
just
the question is that I know, like as Sama asked, right? Or would we be doing hands-on, or do we need to or have any tools with us as a prerequisite for the practice,
So you
or
have to install certain tools. Those are very basic, free of cost, open source tools that I'll be telling you in the classes itself. And
understand?
you would
Okay,
be basically have to create a subscription for yourself, which is free of cost from Microsoft. If you have to use your credit card or debit card, which is a Visa or Mastercard, so you'll be getting 14,500 rupees as a credit, or $200 US dollars as a credit. So you can use those credit to practice the labs.
got it. Yeah, okay. And
But
and
there are
another
some
quick
limitations.
question.
Yeah, there are some
Go ahead, sorry.
limitations that I'll be talking in real time, anyways.
Understand. Another quick question, a generic question related to we being, trained on this one. One of the basic assumptions, something that we had is that, being a DevOps engineer, right? As you know, you would be supporting the, developers or projects that people are developing. So,
Mhm.
so it wouldn't be confined to just, like an integration, like, migration of code to one environment or other environment and all, right? You'll be involved in the development and along with the tools, correct? We just want to
No, we
understand.
don't. I don't teach any code here. I'll be walking
Mm.
you through the code. I'll play a developer role. We all have to play every role that is part of the DevOps project. So we'll see
No,
how
I understand that.
yeah, how
Right.
developer
So
do on daily basis, and how the next set of folks have to be pitching and support. Right? It's a workflow altogether. So workflow will be going to the next step when everybody coordinates and collaborates. So if no coordination, no collaboration, nothing is going to work.
correct, correct. So I'm just talking in terms of the real work that we're gonna doing as a DevOps engineer, right? So the
Mhm.
actual work involves only the building of the pipe, mainly the CI/CD pipelines using those
Yes.
tools, correct?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the question here is that when we do that development, would it be mostly, I mean, in a big project, if we take a DevOps engineer role, would it be
Mhm.
kind like, if I have a team of 10 people, a DevOps engineer
Mhm.
would be like just one or two, and their role will
Yes.
be until just end of the project, or would it be, a continuous, and, it will be a team effort more? I mean, you're part of a team or you're individual by your own when you talk in a project way. If a project team members of three, I mean, 7, 8 people are considered, would it be just consisting of just one DevOps engineer? The question, the reason I'm asking this question is that we will we have to be independent when we do the work, actual real projects, Okay, once we get any job or something, or we will be part of a team, so that where we can learn from others as well as a DevOps engineer.
It all depends
Usually
on
in the real
what
sense.
kind of project that you are getting into it. See, if in case you got a brand new project, right, you have been hired for a brand new project, yes, you have to start from the scratch. But mostly we do get into existing projects only, so where the pipelines were set up, where everybody might have stable, and it might be a flexible project where everybody might be doing their work and helping each other. Obviously, if there is some new DevOps engineers joins a team, there is a knowledge transfer that happens, there is a training plan that happens. You got to know about the environment, so nothing to worry. Nobody will ask you to directly go ahead and create a pipeline or do this, that, until you get habituated to the environment, the client, and the team,
Got it.
right? So, I mean, but we need to be, I cannot say that you'll be only getting the existing projects, right? We need to be ready. But this course will help you do everything from scratch. You should not have to worry. Why? Because everything we would start from a new, consider a new project, and we'll be building it. Any other
Hi,
Okay,
questions?
Kranti.
great.
Hey,
Hi, Kranti. Hi, Kranti.
yeah.
I have just got a question. Do you teach the cybersecurity course as well? Currently, I'm working as a network engineer, and just want to get into the cybersecurity. So, do you recommend that it's good for the beginners, or do we need any coding skills or any coding language for to get into the
So
cybersecurity? Do you
cyber
have any idea?
security, Linux is mandatory, and you should know to the core, right?
Okay.
So, I mean, basically the experienced individuals, right? They get into that. So people who are interested in hacking the things and monitor the things, network, ports, blocking something, restricting something, right?
Yeah.
So that is going to be really a crazy role that we have in the market now, but that needs a lot of proactiveness. You know, right? If somebody is hacking your machine, you need to be very dynamic there. Why? Because until they get all the control, you need to block them somehow. So cybersecurity is such. So I'm not an expert, but I have a plan to get into cybersecurity as well. I know few concepts, but I'm not an expert. Why? Because I'm already teaching multi-cloud and a lot of other technologies, right? So an individual cannot become an expert, right?
Yes. Thank you.
Welcome.
Kranti, do we have this Oracle Cloud infrastructure in your part?
No, I know OCI as well, but I don't teach it. Why? Because OCI is not widely used in the market. It is standing at the lowest position, if I have to say. It is not being
Yeah.
adopted at a larger extent.
Okay.
And so, do you guys provide the resources for the practice as well, like when we're doing the project?
Yes, yes. I
Or
provide
like,
all the documentation that will help you to go with it and do the practical yourself. I mean, I'm using the same document. I don't use the document why? Because I'm very familiar. So I might not be
mhm.
walking through the entire document. But once the lab is done, I'll provide you the document so that it will help you with step-by-step thing to go ahead and deploy the services.
All right, okay, thank you so much.
Welcome.
So, Kranti, so
Any
would you
other?
be, I mean, I know you would be teaching the AWS DevOps as well. Do you have a separate course for that or learning course for that?
Yeah,
For the A-
so yeah, we have a separate course for that.
Okay. Is there
Yeah,
anything
you can
that's
reach out
starting in
to the
recent
coordinator.
future? Okay,
You
got it.
can reach out to our coordinator. They would be helping you.
Sure.
But I think there is another trainer who would be doing that.
I got it. Yeah. Okay.
Come on, guys, this is the right time to ask the questions. Why? Because you might have joined with a lot of confusion, and you might have a lot of
Kranti,
questions as to whether this is the right technology to learn or not. Right? Yeah.
Kranti, this is Venkat here. Today with the session, I understood DevOps is something where developer and operational activities been brought in together.
Hmm.
So which I really liked it. Where a developer will always be a lot of time been pushed into trouble because requirements getting changed and everything, infrastructure being problem post everything. So that operational activity which I liked as a DevOps concept. But when I
Mhm.
see the overall story, right, I understand, like, DevOps is not just that one portion of the slide, but it also covers right from the planning, the design, for everything.
Mhm.
So in a nutshell, to understand, like, if DevOps is something which I need to pick up, then when I look at as a project as a client side, I need to be involved with all kind of teams at every point of time. So what's the save cost with waterfall methodology, where because I know I need to hire three resources who are design, who are at requirement gathering, and then I have the least development team, which would be the more number of people with less budget. So how is this gonna add up for us? Because you need to keep on continuously involving, right from the design, the requirement team, the development team, the
No, you
deployment.
should not. Why? You will, your product owner or your architect, if you're a client, you might deploy somebody as an architect at your end, correct? So probably that guy might be working closely with you only. You should not have to work with the company and the team, correct? Just that you
Mhm.
need to get a progress as to what is happening in the project, whether we are meeting your sprint timelines or not, correct? So with DevOps, what is happening is you have a lot of modern tools. Here you are doing a lot of automation. Let's say if you do 100% job in software development lifecycle with waterfall model, you just do 30 to 40% job here. That's it. So you are saving a lot of time ultimately where you are deploying your product in the cloud. So you're not buying the physical server hardware here. You're taking the servers of Microsoft on rent, and you should not have to worry about the disaster recovery, backup, everything. Microsoft will take care of upgrading the servers, updating the servers with Windows updates or whatever it is. Everything will be taken care by
Yeah.
Microsoft. So your headache is becoming less here, so that you can concentrate on your business expansions and you can concentrate on saving a lot of money. So
So the
that's why,
cost cutting with the infrastructure would be managed with costing on
yes,
to the
yes,
team, basically the core team. Probably
absolutely.
having 20 odd developers, we will just have five developers, but we'll also have all other areas of keep the work in progress and doing it continuous and integrated way.
Yeah. So if you move to DevOps on the cloud, you should not have to worry about licenses. Why?
Yeah.
Because Microsoft will take care of it. Why? Because the rent that you are paying for the services that you are going to take includes licensing, and that is the dead cheap. So I won't be able to show you now. Why? Because it's a real-time thing. So while we are doing the practicals, I'll show you the pricing calculator and I'll show you the difference. Then you will be
Uh,
able to understand.
Secondly, one more thing, maybe out of box question. Working in any of these DevOps modules, right? I somehow feel like there are potentially high chances that we will be integrated to work in two or three projects at the same time. Because
Mhm.
as we see, maybe as a DevOps engineer, we could be potentially working in one particular project. But if you see any other DevOps roles, right?
Mhm.
It looks like there are chances that we might be working in two or three develop projects at the same time,
It
because
vary. It might vary.
yeah, unless until if it's very huge project which is coming from scratch, then it could be. But
So, but in my entire career, right, I've seen the DevOps engineer will stick to only one project, one client, if I have to say. So, for one client, you might have multiple projects, correct?
yeah,
It's all about utilization, right? So, you will be paid by your company. Why? Because you're being utilized, right?
yeah, exactly.
That's as
So
simple as it is.
all right, yeah, thanks,
And
Grant.
and how many hours do you have to practice every day to become like an intermediate level? Like,
So, I suggest 5 hours on daily basis, but it's up to you. If you don't have a job, you have to think that this is your job and you have to practice, right? It's all about making it to perfection. So how many hours that you will be able to cater, it's all up to you.
but 5 hours a day, like you would suggest.
Yeah, that I would suggest.
Okay, all right, no worries.
So, Kranti, one question. What would be my
Mhm.
role and responsibilities upon completion of this course? Like as a developer, right? What I'm going to do, like in the sense like creating a pipelines, grabbing all the
But being a
files and
DevOps engineer, right, not a developer, yeah, it's mostly concentrating on creating pipelines and delivering the project. Again, by collaborating
deployment.
and
Yeah.
coordinating with everybody in the team.
Yeah, I mean to say like creating a pipeline which grabs all the files and it
Yeah,
creates a bundle, right, for deployment,
yeah. Artifact.
right?
Yeah.
Artifacts, yeah, whatever it could be. Yeah. Is that what going to do? I mean, that is what the main you're
Yes,
going to teach us.
yes.
Okay.
I mean, this
And
is
you're also,
just a role of DevOps engineer, but I'll teach a lot. I'll play
okay.
every role.
Yeah, I saw your, I mean, content, like the table of contents and everything. That looks good. But I
Mhm.
just want to know, like, end of the day, right? What I'm going to do actually. That's what I want to find it out. Yeah.
See, the additional thing, the added advantage for you is you are getting knowledge on infrastructure building and platform building as well.
Like creating
So
virtual
if you
machines and
go to,
displays.
yes. So basically, in a company, being a DevOps engineer, you will also depend on the Azure infrastructure team to create the infrastructure or platform that is required for hosting the application. But
Got
if you
you.
attend this course, you can play both roles. You can play Azure infrastructure engineer role, you can play DevOps
Mhm.
role. So from the profile perspective, this would be added advantage. Or certain people will think that DevOps is huge for me after completing the course. They can even go to Azure admin roles, where
Mhm.
there should not be more headache with the roles and responsibilities over there. There's the administration that you have to do there.
Okay.
So it depends. At the end of the course, you can go with Azure Admin or Azure DevOps. It's up to you. But it's
Yeah.
like a package that I'm covering: Azure Fundamentals, Azure Administration, and then DevOps.
Yeah. Thanks for the clarification. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. I think you guys would be getting the recording,
I
right?
just have one question, Kranti.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So AWS, Amazon AWS versus Microsoft Azure, right? How is the market?
See, Azure is topping number one in the market now, right?
Okay.
So Azure, I mean, Microsoft is a developer-friendly company. So in your life or in anybody's life, Microsoft's tools we have to use it, right? And to develop a website, yes, Microsoft tool has to be definitely used. So when you look at the clients that we have throughout the world, they were running their businesses, applications, databases, things and stuff using Microsoft technologies only. So when you learn Microsoft Azure from the integration perspective, it is super good. So Microsoft Azure has been integrated with all the programming languages that we have available in the market. But if you go to AWS and GCP, they don't have their own tools. That's a worry. So they always have to depend on third-party tools. That's where most of the developers will choose learning Microsoft Azure rather than AWS or GCP or Oracle Cloud, Alibaba Cloud, HP Cloud, IBM Cloud, whatever the cloud that we have in the market.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, Kranti. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So we'll be covering Kubernetes as well, Manikanta. I just saw your ping in the chat window. Yes. And yeah, the folks who are gonna enroll for this course will get the recording of this demo session for sure. So somebody's asking in the chat window. So any last questions that I can go ahead and take it up?
So how many tools we gonna use like overall for the Azure DevOps course?
We are gonna use 10 to 15 tools if I have to say. So yeah, those will be in the course curriculum that I've just gone through.
Okay. So what are the major tools like that we use regularly? Like,
So it's Azure Pipelines is a service or tool, whatever that you call it as. That will be has to be integrated with a lot of things.
okay. Thank you so much.
Kranti,
Yes, I'll
what
be
is the fee
providing.
structure?
Yes, I'll be providing notes, lab assignments, everything at the end of the class on daily basis. Course fee, you can contact our coordinator. I'm not the right person to talk about. I'm not getting into financials, sorry. Any final questions before we conclude?
I think you have answered the okay, motion every, I mean, silly question answers. Okay. think we can call it up that
Hey,
day. Okay. Have a nice weekend, Kranti. Okay. Nice meeting to you, by the way.
thank you, thank you. Yeah, really appreciate your time in attending the session, guys. I hope you all like the session, and this is how our classes are gonna be. I believe you got the point as I'm concentrating from the daily life examples. This is how every day will be gonna be. Yeah, nice talking to all of you, and I hope you like the session. If in case you wanted to enroll, yes, you can reach out to our institute. So they are ping the contact numbers in the chat window, right? And yeah, hope to see on Tuesday. Thank you all. Have a great day and happy weekend.
Thank you, Kranti. Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Kranti.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thank you, Kranti. Thank you.